cold, I should be clear. Forward fuel low, roger.
Hey guys, what's up? Dave Spy here. Going over a video real quick about how to replace the head unit on your 2016 Tacoma with a Pioneer. This is for the DMH models, I believe. Let's look at this real quick. The DMH-NEX models. So all of them, as far as I know, the networked enhanced experience ones have a, what's it called, a similar harness. So I could be wrong. If I am wrong, go ahead and let me know. But as far as I know, they all have the same harness. So when I put this into my cart from Crutchfield, Crutchfield recommended a whole bunch of things to me about what to add with it for adapters. So they gave me the Maestro RR, not the RR2. I don't think I really would have needed it though, because I'm not trying to do power heats or power seats, heated seats or anything like that through the center console. So our center infotainment display. That's not, I didn't have that in my truck. I have a 2016 Toyota Tacoma TRD Sport, not the JBL version, which is a very important distinction to make because the JBL version has different wiring, I believe. So when I put that in, they said, hey, you should add a bunch of this stuff to your cart. And I said, sure, why not? So I added an adapter for the aux line to keep the aux from the front right here, where the USB currently is, into the head unit. I also got, let's see, I think this OBD adapter plugs directly into your OBD port, and it connects, as far as I know, like this, with the black end into your TO2 harness, and the wide end also into your TO2 harness that comes out the bottom right there. You had to bend it back a little bit, but it still works. As far as I know, you do not use this coming off of the main TO2 harness from the factory Toyota wiring. I'm not sure why that is, but maybe somebody could tell me down in the comments. Let's see, what other adapters did I get? Oh, this one. I got the adapter for keeping the stock GPS antenna in place and not using the Pioneer GPS antenna, which I would have had to put on the dash and leave up there the whole time. It would just cluttered really everything up. I don't really like the way that looks, so I just got this. Let's see, what else? This connector, I believe, came with the Maestro. I'm not 100% sure. I'll look through my cart again on Crutchfield. It's been almost 2 weeks since I did this, so I'm just kind of going back over and tidying some stuff up. But this is for the backup camera. This adapter right here, which is for retaining the stock USB connector. And this adapter right here for keeping the stock FM antenna or HD radio antenna. Let me go over something real quick. So when you are using the stock GPS unit and trying to keep the stock GPS antenna, there is actually two sets of connectors that are very similar. So if I can pull this off real quick. That are very similar. There's this white one and this black one. So this black one is bundled with the FM antenna, and I couldn't remember what antenna, what to plug it in at the time was, and I had it plugged into this one, and so my Pioneer didn't get any GPS signal. But now that I'm back in here, I was running a microphone from NFIG up into the stock location. So an important thing to realize is that when you guys are doing this, these two antennas are for FM and for the XM radio antenna. This white connector over here that is very similar is for the GPS. So I messed that up. I want to make sure you guys don't. So another thing is that the TO2 harness to the Pioneer harness, almost all the wires are exactly the same. There's a few with minor differences, such as I think one is on here as orange. Yeah, this one right here, orange white on the Pioneer side and orange on the TO2 harness side. And there's little differences here and there. If you print out the sheets that Maestro gives you, this wiring guide, very helpful. I got stuck on it for a day because I was looking at the wrong harness. I was looking at the white harness instead of the black harness. That was my fuck up. I should have known better, but you know, it is what it is. Also, some things that you don't use from the Maestro box cabling wise are this one weird harness. The steering wheel control cable is not necessary, and this one weird 3-pin connector with wires on the end. Right here you can see the direction for you to plug in the OBD connector to the Maestro RR. So yeah, also aux in, that's where it tells you right here about connecting the aux in cable and stuff like that. So I'll show that in a second. But one thing I couldn't figure out was why I wasn't getting any kind of signal from my antenna for my radio, HD radio stuff. So I kept on trying to pull down some radio stations just while I was crossing the country, and I couldn't get anything. Well, looking on the Tacoma World forums, and they are suggesting that this wire will splice into the blue-white wire on here for amplifier, since it is an amplified connection. So what I'm going to end up doing is just probably I'm going to try and undo this crimp right here on these butt connectors, and then just shove the blue one in with this set, and then we'll see if I can get any kind of connection. Alright, so without further ado, here we go. So, got that antenna wire spliced in with the blue-white wire, so now we're going to hook everything up. So now, I have the whole head unit without the screen attached to the double DIN to single DIN adapter that came, was recommended to me by Crutchfield. There are a few things on the back here. This S-video connection that we're not going to be using for anything. On top right above it, there's the microphone plug-in, the GPS plug. The instructions were very explicit about not plugging anything into the W/R or WR plug, so I'm going to leave that empty. This USB jack, which is actually, wow, that's really sharp. That's for retaining the stock location for the USB plug. This is the main Maestro harness. This is the auxiliary Maestro harness over here on this side. There's an HDMI in for, I think this is mini or micro HDMI, and this is for the antenna connector. So I'm going to start plugging all this stuff in. I'm going to try and give you guys a good view of me doing it. So let's see. Let's start off going from You know what? I'm going to do it like this so you guys can see it. So, here we go. So what I'm going to do is go from my left to right. So that way hopefully I can clean up some of these cables while I'm working. Now I can shove the Maestro and this complete rat's nest of cables back into the head unit area because I'm not going to deal with that for right now. An important note, that is something I just noticed right now, these two wires, the yellow, black, and yellow, green, do not connect to anything on the Maestro wiring harness diagram. The yellow, black is for foot brake, and the yellow, green just says not connected. So this one, I already pulled the end off, so I just capped it off. This one still has the little sheathing on it, so I'm just going to leave it on. But this is all spliced together. If you guys are doing this at home, I highly recommend you just open the TO2 harness and the head unit harness and just do this indoors. I used butt connectors. I've seen people saying they've used some different kind of plug connectors or just soldered and joined the wire and then did heat shrink over it. I did this while I was at a friend's house. All my tools are currently packed up for a move, and they still haven't gotten here to me yet, so I don't have any of my soldering tools or anything like that. So I just kind of did it the easiest way, which was butt connectors and crimping them, and I haven't had any problems besides me plugging in shit wrong. So, all right, let's get this started. This is the black harness. Here is the white harness that goes into this connector. Now, what I have plugged in here right now is let me get all these other ones out of the way. I have the backup camera, this brown connector, connected into the backup camera on here, and it is labeled, thankfully Pioneer does a really good job of labeling their stuff, rear view camera. And now you're just going to screw all these bolts back into their factory location. And these are all 10mm bolts right here. Oh, going by touch. And now I'm just gonna tighten all those down with the socket wrench with an extension to clear the whole head unit assembly. Oh, I guess I could do that with my fingers. Then give them a little tighten down. They don't need to be super tight, and you don't want to strip anything out. This is just a head unit, not a major main mechanical part that needs a lot of torque to it. I'll say probably like 10 inch-pounds maybe. All right, and now you want to put back on your factory molding around here, around the vents. And you guys have probably seen this 100 times before if you've done the research. Literally just put it over. Come on. Then let the clips guide in. Okay. And now it's time to put on the screen. Now this is a tricky part because for me, the screen's kind of large. If you guys got, I think, the 6600, the one that's just straight in head unit, this is kind of where you guys would be done because it's a doubled in and it would just fit right in. But for units like this with a floating screen, it's going to be a little bit more difficult. So the easiest way I've found to put the screws in for this is to have these bars tilted all the way forward to the stops on here, so that way you can get at the screws, because if they're tilted all the way back, it's going to be more difficult for you to get at the screws. So you can pull this wire that connects to the monitor, this monitor up, and I have the screws over here, and I'm just going to go ahead and screw it right in. And it should just click into place right there. The very bottommost screw hole on the, let me show you guys, the very bottommost screw hole on the back of the screen, you cannot put a screw into, but it does connect nicely to a peg that is right here. So let me see if I can get in closer, have it still focused. That little peg right there is just kind of to help you retain it. And that's the only thing that I have found. So let's get this back up. You'll just hear it kind of snap into place on that one. Yeah, so right one isn't doing it, but that's fine. Let's get the top one in on this one. Do it finger tight. And get the top one in on the other side. Okay, and the bottom one on this side. All right, Now that I have this temporarily installed, I'm going to get the last screw on there. Now that I have this temporarily installed, I'm going to do the connector, which is a little finicky. So when you guys are doing it, just realize that it is a little finicky to do because you have to route the cable in a very specific pattern that the monitor wants. So, you know, it is just kind of a pain in the ass, but it's one of those things you just got to do. Let me get this cable routed around in the holes it wants to be in and plug it in. Boom, okay. And when you plug in that cable, you'll hear it a little bit just kind of snap into place, and then if you try and pull up on it, you will feel that it doesn't want to go anywhere, which is fine. Okay, now let me tighten down these screws. And these screws will go through that plastic bracket into the metal behind that plastic. So you might be turning for a little bit and not feel anything until it suddenly grabs, and then you'll feel a jump in torque, jump in resistance and torque right there. And for these, I would say just about, honestly, just hand tight. Once you feel it give you resistance, maybe just like a little more, because this is going to be vibrating, but these screws do have a little bit of blue Loctite on the end, so it's not that big of a deal if you don't, you know, muscle fuck them down. So let me just, damn, it is warm in here. Should have rolled down the windows before I disconnected the batteries. Okay. Now that you have those screws tightened down, you're going to put on the back panel. And the back panel just slides on. There are two rails on either side, well, one rail on either side. So you can just, oops. This little bit of vinyl did not like some stuff. Okay, you should just slide down on those rails like so, and you should hear it just click. You just slide into place all the way down. Perfect. Boom. And I have full range of movement. All right, and let me just go hook up my battery, make sure everything's good. All right. Just connected the battery. Now let's see what it looks like with it on. Close that door. Takes a while to boot up. Always does. And because I have had this head unit for about 2 weeks now, it's going to connect to my phone and bring up Android Auto. I'm just going to get out
anyway,
of that.
there was a quote floating around. It was like one of the last like marathon Jeopardy champions from when Alex Trebek was still around.
And let's see if the radio works now, because that's why I took this all down. Oh boy! Do a scan real quick. And as you guys can hear, the radio does work now. So let me see if I can pull up the channel listing. Oh yeah, I can pull up the channel listing for the area I'm in, which was not something I could do before I spliced that blue antenna wire in. So guess it all works now. And that's pretty much it. Alright guys, thanks for watching. If this helped you, please leave a like or a comment. Just let me know if I helped make your life a little easier, because I was trying to find a video for this kind of thing online and I couldn't find one specifically for the Pioneer head units or 16 Tacoma. I don't know why. They just kind of all gloss over the super technical stuff just to make a video under 5 minutes. So, oh, this is the demo mode.